Good morning, students. So, today, in the last class, I have discussed regarding the vitamin B12. So, this class, the next important vitamin, that is biotin, we will discuss. So, biotin is also a water-soluble vitamin. So, the other names for biotin is vitamin B7, anti-white injury factor, vitamin H, or coenzyme. So, these are the other names for biotin. I will explain you why it is called as anti-white injury factor later on. So these are the other names. It is an water-soluble vitamin, biotin. So coming to chemistry, it consists of a two-ring structure, that is imidazole ring and a thiopine rings with a side chain of valeric acid. So this is the structure of biotin. So consists of two rings. So the first ring is imidazole ring. The second ring attached to the imidazole ring is thiopine ring, and you can see the side chain attached to the thiopine ring to the carboxylic group. Okay, so this is the valeric acid which is attached to the thiopine ring. So this valeric acid side chain that binds to the lysine residue of the various enzymes. So the main function of this valeric acid is this valeric acid binds to the enzyme, that is various carboxylase enzyme is there. So to that enzyme this valeric side chain will be attached. So this nitrogen atom is a carbon dioxide binding site. So this the important function of biotin is, so this biotin is involved in carbon dioxide fixation reaction. That is, it accepts the carbon dioxide from various sources and it will donate to the various substrate. The main function of this biotin is involved in carbon dioxide fixation reactions. Okay, so the enzymes which are involved in carbon dioxide fixation reactions are called as carboxylase. So here you can see the pointer carboxylase. So this is the enzyme binding site and this is the carbon dioxide binding site. So the coenzyme form of biotin is biocytin. So the active form or the coenzyme form of the vitamin biotin is biocytin. So this biocytin acts as an prosthetic group, that is non-protein part of the enzyme called carboxylase enzyme. So the carboxylase enzyme contains a non-protein part, that is biocytin or biotin. Okay. So this carboxylase enzymes, the importance of carboxylase enzymes is these enzymes are involved in carboxylation reaction or carbon dioxide fixation reactions. Okay. So which are the enzymes involved in carbon dioxide fixation reaction is so these enzymes you have to remember. Okay. So four enzymes where biotin four carboxylase enzymes where biotin acts as a cofactor. The first enzyme is pyruvate carboxylase, acetyl-CoA carboxylase, propanil-CoA carboxylase, and methyl protein CoA carboxylase. So these are the four carboxylase enzymes. Carboxylase enzymes are nothing but the enzymes which are involved in carboxylation reaction, that is transfer of carbon dioxide. So the role of biotin is just it will accept the carbon dioxide from various source and it will transfer to the various substrate. So these are the various enzymes which are dependent on the biotin. You just see next slide which are the reactions we require for these enzymes. So first enzymes, that is pyruvate carboxylase. So where this enzyme is required? So this enzyme is required in formation of oxaloacetate, that is in the step of gluconeogenesis. Pyruvate along with carbon dioxide, okay, biotin, so to form an oxaloacetate. So this oxaloacetate has a various fate. So this oxaloacetate is used in the gluconeogenesis, or else it oxaloacetate enters the TCA cycle, or else it also helps in synthesis of amino acid called aspartate through transamination reaction. The significance of oxaloacetate is mainly gluconeogenesis. For this step, that is pyruvate conversion of pyruvate to oxaloacetate. Okay, so here we require an enzyme called pyruvate carboxylase. For this pyruvate carboxylase, we require an cofactor called biotin. Suppose if there is any biotin deficiency, so here pyruvate along with carbon dioxide and biotin, we form an oxaloacetate. Okay, this oxaloacetate has various fate. Oxaloacetate may be utilized for gluconeogenesis, or else it enters the TCA cycle, or else it helps in synthesis of amino acid called aspartate. So for this reaction, we require an enzyme called pyruvate carboxylase. So this, for the proper activity of this pyruvate carboxylase, we require a cofactor called biotin or bioacetylene. Here, in every step, we require ATP is utilized. Suppose if there is any biotin deficiency, so these steps will not take place. Pyruvate will not get converted to oxaloacetate. So there will be no gluconeogenesis, that is, no synthesis of glucose from the non-carbohydrate source. So that condition you may see fasting hypoglycemia. Okay. So suppose if there is any deficiency of bioacetylene or biotin, so these steps will not take place. So there is no oxaloacetate formation. So there is no gluconeogenesis. Okay. So there is no gluconeogenesis, there is no glucose during the fasting state, leading to fasting hypoglycemia. So that is the one important step where we require biotin, that is conversion of pyruvate to oxaloacetate. Okay, so we got to know what is the importance of that. Second step, second reaction where we require biotin is acetyl-CoA carboxylase. So even this carboxylase enzyme requires a cofactor called biotin, where acetyl-CoA will get converted to malonyl-CoA. So this enzyme is required for the conversion of acetyl-CoA to malonyl-CoA. Here also we require an enzyme called acetyl-CoA carboxylase. So this, if there is any deficiency, so this malonyl-CoA is a initial step. This malonyl-CoA is required for the initial step for fatty acid synthesis and elongation of the fatty acid side chain. Okay, so suppose if there is any biotin deficiency is there, these steps will not take place. That is, conversion of acetyl-CoA to malonyl-CoA will not take place. Okay, so leading to defective fatty acid synthesis and defective fatty acid elongation. As you all know that fatty acid is required for various synthesis of phospholipids and all those things. Okay, so here also for these steps, that is conversion of acetyl-CoA to malonyl-CoA. Okay, so here carbon dioxide with carboxylation reaction is taking place. So if there is biotin deficiency, these steps will not take place. So the third important reaction where the biotin required as a cofactor is in conversion of propanil-CoA to methyl-malonyl-CoA. Okay, propanil-CoA is an odd chain fatty acid. So this oxidation of odd chain fatty acid, that is propanil-CoA, should get converted to methyl-malonyl-CoA with the help of the enzyme propanil-CoA carboxylase. So for this proper activity of this propanil-CoA carboxylase, we require a carbon dioxide fixation agent, that is biotin. Okay, the fate of methyl-malonyl-CoA is methyl-malonyl-CoA will get converted to succinyl-CoA. This succinyl-CoA will enter the TCA cycle, or else it will be utilized for the heme synthesis. Okay, suppose if there is any deficiency is there, biotin, propanil-CoA will not get converted to methyl-malonyl-CoA. Okay, propanil-CoA is an odd chain fatty acid. The last and the fourth most important reaction where we require biotin is methyl carnitine-CoA carboxylase. That is conversion of methyl carnitine-CoA to the methyl butanyl-CoA. Okay, so it is an important step in the branch chain amino acid, that is leucine metabolism. Leucine is a branch chain amino acid metabolism. Initially, leucine is transaminated to form the intermediate products. So later on, this methyl carnitine is an intermediate product of the leucine. Okay, this should be get converted to methyl butanyl-CoA. So here we require an enzyme called methyl pronatyl carboxylase. So this enzyme requires a cofactor from biotin. Okay, suppose if there is any biotin deficiency, so this will get accumulated in our body, and this beta carnitine CoA will be excreted in the urine. Okay, so these are the four important reactions where we require biotin as a cofactor. So again, coming next step, which are the four important enzymes? That is pyruvate carboxylase. So this pyruvate carboxylase is required for the conversion of pyruvate to oxaloacetate. So this oxaloacetate is utilized for gluconeogenesis, or else it is utilized for PCA cycle, or else it will be utilized for synthesis of amino acid called aspartate. Okay. So for this activity of pyruvate carboxylase, we require a carbon dioxide fixation agent, that is biotin. Okay. So second important enzymes where we require biotin is acetyl-CoA carboxylase. So this acetyl-CoA carboxylase is involved in the reaction in conversion of acetyl-CoA to malonyl-CoA. Okay. So this malonyl-CoA is required for the initial step for fatty acid synthesis. Okay. So suppose if there is any deficiency of the biotin, so there is no conversion of acetyl-CoA to malonyl-CoA, leading to decrease or inhibitory of fatty acid synthesis, and there will be defective elongation of the fatty acid chain. Okay. So the third important enzyme we will require biotin is third in propanil-CoA carboxylase. Propanil-CoA is an odd chain fatty acid. For the degradation or metabolism of the odd chain fatty acid, we require an enzyme called propanil-CoA carboxylase. Okay. The fourth important enzyme is methyl-carnitine-CoA carboxylase. So these are the four carboxylase enzymes where we require a cofactor called biotin. Okay. As you all know, in the first slide I showed which is the carbon dioxide binding site. This biotin just will accept the carbon dioxide from various source and it will donate to the substrate involved in the carboxylation reactions. Okay. So these are the three other important functions, which is first function is regulation of cell cycle. The biotin is also involved in regulation of cell cycle. Okay. In some patients, there is any deficiency of biotin, there is an arrest of the cell cycle at the G1 phase. Okay, G1 phase. So also it also acts as a regulator of the gene expression in various enzymes. So this has also involved benefits in hair growth and nails. Okay. So these are the other functions, non-enzymatic functions, which is the important functions of the biotin. Okay. So as I told you, not all the carboxylase enzymes are dependent on the biotin. There are other two enzymes in our body which are independent of the biotin. So these are the two enzymes, that is carbamide phosphate synthase or else malic enzyme. So these are the two carboxylation reactions which are independent of biotin. Which are the two important enzymes which are independent of carboxylation reaction, which is not dependent on the biotin is, you have to remember two names, that is carbamide phosphate synthase 192, and the second important enzyme is malic enzyme. So these are the two biotin independent carboxylation reactions. So these two enzymes, that is carbamide phosphate synthase 192 and malic enzymes. Okay, these are the three enzymes which are independent of carboxylation. These three enzymes do not require biotin for their carboxylation reactions. Okay, we should know which are the enzymes which are involved in carboxylation reaction and which are dependent on the biotin and which are not dependent on biotin. So these are the three enzymes which are not dependent on biotin for their carboxylation reactions. Okay, so coming to RDA, so daily requirement is around 0.2 to 0.3 milligram per day, or else 200 to 300 microgram per day. So this is the daily requirement of the biotin, okay, vitamin. So the important dietary source for biotin is mainly through the animal source, that is liver, egg, yeast, pulses and vegetables. So these are the rich sources of biotin. As coming to the egg yolk, which is the yellow color, egg yolk is rich in biotin, whereas egg white is, I'll tell you what our significance of egg white in later sir. So egg yolk is rich in biotin. Okay, so these are the sources. Four sources include dairy product and cereals. Okay, cereals. So some amount around 30 to 40% of the biotin is also synthesized by the bacterial flora of the intestine. So in our intestine, the normal flora, bacterial flora is there. So that bacterial flora is also, and 30 to 40% of the biotin is synthesized from the microbial flora of the intestine. Okay. So dietary sources, mainly animal sources like liver, meat, egg. Egg yolk is a rich source of biotin, and 30 to 40% of the biotin is also synthesized by the normal bacterial flora of the intestine. Okay, so that is about RDA and dietary sources. Coming to deficiency manifestation, so biotin deficiency is rarely seen or usually not seen. So because of two reasons, that is it is distributed widely in many foods, and also it is synthesized by the bacteria flora of the gut. So these are the two reasons where we usually not seen biotin deficiency. Okay, because of these two reasons, that is widely distributed in many foods, and also it is synthesized by the bacterial flora in the gut. So this is the reason usually we will not see biotin deficiency commonly. Okay. So in which cases, in which patients you will see biotin deficiencies? The patient whose intake is very poor, that is poor intake through the diet, that is bedridden patient, or the patient who is on parenteral nutrition, okay, bedridden who is not taking the food properly. So those chronic bedridden patients, so those patients you will see dietary deficiency. Or a chronic alcoholic patient, there will be defective absorption of the biotin through the intestine, or else malnutrition, or else ingestion of the raw egg, ingestion around, if we inject, like the person whose diet is regular diet is ingestion of the raw egg, ingestion of around 20 raw eggs per day may lead to biotin deficiency. I will tell you what is the effect of ingestion of the raw egg. Okay, what is the effect of ingestion of consuming raw egg? Okay, I'll tell you. Or else excess use of antibiotics. The person who is using excess antibiotic use. Okay, so that will destroy the normal bacterial flora of the gut. Okay, that will destroy the normal bacterial flora of the gut. So we as you all know that normal bacterial flora is helpful in synthesis of the biotin. So this will destroy the normal gut. So there will be defective synthesis of the bacterial flora. Okay, so what are the clinical features you will see in the biotin deficiency patient? Mainly dermatitis, mainly due to defective fatty acid synthesis. Okay, weakness will be there, mostly due to defective fasting gluconeogenesis. So the other neurological features they involve a hallucination, depression. Okay, so there are also chances of atrophic glossitis, anorexia, and loss of hair. So these are the clinical features you will see in the biotin deficiency patients. Okay, you should know why it is not usually seen, because of two reasons, that is widely distributed and also by synthesis by the bacterial flora. Okay, deficiency is mainly seen in poor intake patient, chronic alcoholic, malnutrition, consumption of the raw egg, and excess antibiotic use. Okay, and excess antibiotic use will destroy the normal bacterial flora. Okay, so that normal bacterial flora is required for synthesis of the biotin. If that is defective, there is no synthesis. So clinical features include dermatitis, weakness, hallucination, depression, and all. So how we will assess the biotin deficiency? So how we will come to conclusion that the person or a patient is suffering from the biotin deficiency? One is, so in the biotin deficiency there is an accumulation of the substrate of biotin dependent enzymes. So I told you in earlier class, which are the four important enzymes which are required, which are the four important carboxylase enzymes which are required. Biotin is thyroid carboxylase, acetyl-CoA carboxylase. So if there is any deficiency of biotin, so the substrate will be accumulated. This will be like lactate, methyl carnitine, hydroxylamine, hydroxy isovaleric acid. So these are the important component or the important substrate which gets accumulated in our body due to biotin deficiency. Due to biotin deficiency, the four important reaction, carboxylation reactions will not take place. So that due to that there will be accumulation of those products leading to excretion of them. Okay. So these are the diagnostic features. So treatment include ingestion of, so if there is any severe deficiency of biotin, okay, so biotin tablet supplementation is also there. Or else if there is any severe biotin deficiency, injection of biotin around 100 to 300 microgram will rapidly cure the symptoms of biotin deficiency. Okay, so initially I told you regarding consumption of raw egg lead to deficiency because the egg white is a very it is a glycoprotein, heat labeled glycoprotein present in the raw egg, okay, which is mainly present in the raw egg. So consumption of raw egg will have avidin. So this avidin will bind to the biotin, okay. So when it binds to the biotins, so this makes unavailable for the absorption. The simple it is avidin is a glycoprotein which is present in the egg white. Okay, consumption of raw egg or egg white will leads to binding of this biotin to the avidin, making biotin to the unavailable for the absorption. Hence, consuming around 20 raw eggs per day leads to biotin deficiency. As this avidin is a glycoprotein. Okay, so boiling of eggs will destroy the avidin. So hence boiled egg eating is good rather than eating the raw egg. Okay, so this is all about the biotin. You need to know what are the important reactions which are involved in the biotin. 4 carboxylase enzymes and 2 which are dependent on these things. Okay, so coming to these things, provitamins and antivitamins. So this will be asked for 3 marks, provitamins and antivitamins. So what are provitamins? Provitamins are the inactive precursors of the vitamins and that convert to the active form in the body, that is beta carotene and 7-dehydrated cholesterol. So these are the inactive form of the vitamins. So these inactive forms will be activated in our body. So okay, so the vitamins which are inactive later on which will get active in our body are called as provitamins. Antivitamins are the compounds which interfere with the utilization of the vitamins in the body. Example is thymines and avidin. Okay, thymines which is present in the fish. So excessive consumption of the fish may lead to inhibition of the absorption of the thymine from the gut. In the same way, avidin is also glycoprotein. So excess consumption of raw egg or else egg white leads to decreased absorption of biotin from the intestinal tract, leading to deficiency of biotin and thymine. Okay, so you need to know what are provitamins. Provitamins are simple. They are inactive precursors of the vitamins and that get converted to the active form in our body. So these are the precursors when you consume it. So this gets activated in our body. Example is beta carotene, that is vitamin A and vitamin D. Okay, antivitamins simple, which substances which inhibit the absorption or of the vitamin from the gut. Example is thymine and alanine. So these are provitamins and antivitamins. So this is all about the biotin. So this biotin will be small vitamin, important. So this will be asked for 5 marks. That is carboxylation reaction. 4 enzymes you need to remember, and you have to know why it is called as. Thank you. This is simple experiment. ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟನೇ ಒಂದು 65 ಹ್ಞೂ 72 ಐತೆ ಈಗ 72 ಐತೆ ಈಗ 72 ಐತೆ
Yes. Hello everyone. Good morning. Are you there? Hello everyone. Can you hear? Is it audible? Yes. In this section, we will discuss about the arches of foot. Here I am explaining the classification of the arches of foot, then its framework and factors maintaining the arches, its functions and applied anatomy. Hope you can hear and it is visible also. Yes. And okay. Okay. I think it is audible now. Okay. So here we will be discussing about the gross features of the arches of foot. Yes. So in this image, we are saying this is the body framework of the foot. This is the right foot. Here we can see the tarsal bones. This is the calcaneus. This one is the talus. Here you can see the navicular. Then distal to the navicular, you can see the cuneiform bones. This is the medial cuneiform. This is the intermediate cuneiform. And this one is the lateral cuneiform. Lateral to that, you can see this one. This is the cuboid. Then distal to the cuneiform bones, we are saying these are the metatarsals. This area, this is the base of the metatarsal. Here you are seeing this is the shaft of the metatarsals. Then here is the head of the metatarsals. Then distally these are the phalanges. Here in the first two there is two proximal and distal phalanx. Remaining all has proximal, middle and the distal phalanx. So this is the right foot. This is towards medial aspect. Here towards is the lateral aspect. So one thing you have noticed, this foot here, there are small bones there. Okay, it's that means the foot is arranged in the form of small segments. Okay, these bones, these are segments in medially and in longitudinally and transversely. The longitudinally you can see on the medial aspect and the lateral aspect. And also there is a transverse aspect arrangement of this segments, different segments of this box. So the foot is arched. Okay. The function of this one, the function of this arches of the foot. Main function of the foot is it can support our body weight. Okay. Due to the small fragments of the segments, okay, this arches helps the uniform distribution of the weight to the ground. Okay. Here in this figure, you are seeing this is the lateral view here. Here we can see this is the dorsal view. This one is the dorsal view here. So here it's more body weight is mentioned in terms of pounds. Suppose a person of 120 pounds weight, okay, it gets distributed to the right and left leg as 60 pounds each. 60 to the right leg, 60 to the left leg. Then from the femur, then to the tibia, then from the tibia the weight gets transmitted to here. This is the talus. Here you can see this one is the talus. So 60 to right leg and another 60 to the left leg. One leg we are explaining, suppose here this is a right leg. So 60 pounds weight is distributed to the talus. From there, 30 will go to anteriorly and 30 goes to the calcaneus. Okay. In the then to the ground. Okay. In the 30 to the anteriorly, it reaches the heads of this metatarsals. Seeing this is the heads of the metatarsals. In this figure, you are seeing here this is the head of the metatarsals. Okay. In the next to the first metatarsal, you can see there are sesamoid bones are there. So anteriorly, you can see these are the heads of the metatarsals. Additionally, in the first metatarsal head, there are the sesamoid bones are there. So these are the weight-bearing points. Okay. So totally here in anterior most, there are 6 weight-bearing points are there. These 4 metatarsals, including these 2 sesamoid weight-bearing points also. So 5 pounds gets distributed. So 30 to the calcaneus, in the 30 anteriorly, 5 each. Okay. So then to the from the lateral aspect to the ground. So here that's about the weight distribution through the arch. So there is a uniform weight distribution in one function. Then another important function here, the arch of the foot, with the help of the arches, okay, the foot acts as a lever to propel the body forwards during walking, running, and jumping. Okay. These are the main functions of the arches of foot. This diagram I already explained. Yes. Then coming to the classification of the arches of the foot. There are longitudinal and transverse arch. So here you can see this medial view. Here this one is the medial malleolus tibia. Here this one is the calcaneum. Here you can see this is the talus, part of the talus. Then here there is the lavicula. This is the medial cuneiform. This one is the first metatarsal. Okay, this is the toe phalanx. So this is a medial view here. Then the arch here, the arch forms here like this from the posterior end here from this calcaneum where it touches the ground. Then arch like this for the arch to the concavity. Then at the level of the head of this metatarsal, okay, here it again touches the ground. So this arch here from posterior here towards anteriorly at the head of the metatarsal. This one is the medial longitudinal arch. Like that in the lateral aspect also there is a lateral longitudinal arch. Here in the middle there is a transverse arch. We will be explaining in detail all those things. Okay. First we'll focus about this medial longitudinal arch. So here this is a posteriorly one point is touching the ground, that is here this is the tuberosity of the calcaneum. Here in the medial this projection here this is the medial tubercle. So the medial aspect here, the one touching is the ground, that one is the medial tubercle. It forms the posterior end. Okay, this is towards posteriorly, this is towards anteriorly, this is the medial view. Here, this is one touching the ground, this one is the medial tubercle, that forms the posterior end. The anteriorly, the medial arch, medial longitudinal arch gets formed by the medial 3 metatarsals. Okay, here you can see only the first metatarsal. In lateral to that there is a second and third. So medial 3 also forms the medial longitudinal arch along with the all the cuneiform bones that means includes the medial, intermediate, and the lateral cuneiform bones, and also there is the navicular, then is the talus. Talus is in the summit region. Okay, here. So these are the bony framework of the medial longitudinal arch. Posteriorly, you can see the calcaneum. That one touches the ground, that one is the medial tubercle, that forms the posterior end. Then, distal to the calcaneum, you can see superiorly there is the talus, then comes the navicular, then cuneiform bones, medial, intermediate, and lateral, then medial 3 metatarsal bones. In that, heads of the first, second, and third ones. Okay. That forms the anterior end of the medial longitudinal arch. That one is also touching the ground, that forms the anterior end. So it has an anterior end, posterior end, then there is a summit. Summit means here we can see this bone here, this is the talus. Okay, you can see this concavity is there. It's the concavity of the arch here, this is the concavity. Here, this bone forms the summit, that is the superior articular surface of the talus. That area forms the summit of this medial longitudinal arch. Then there is an anterior pillar and posterior pillar. Anterior pillar is formed by the talus bone, navicular, the cuneiform bones, and the first 3 metatarsals. Posterior pillar is formed by the medial half of calcaneum. Okay, it's in the medial longitudinal arch. You're seeing on this medial aspect. So the posterior pillar here is formed by the medial half of the calcaneum. So that's the framework of this medial longitudinal arch. Okay, you're seeing this is the medial view here. This one is the calcaneum, medial tubercle. This is the head of the metatarsals. The first one is visible, then the second, third is there. These forms correspondingly the posterior end and the anterior end. Then from the talus distally, from the talus to the metatarsal bones forms the anterior pillar, calcaneum forms the posterior pillar, summit by the superior articular surface of this talus. The main joints here, we already know that here you can see this joint here, main joint, that is the talus here, talo, calcaneum, navicular, talo, calcaneum, navicular joint. The main joint here. Okay. So that's the framework of the medial longitudinal arch. Then there are some factors which helps in maintaining the arch. Okay, you have seen this concavity here. There are some factors which helps to maintain the arch. We'll see in detail. Okay. One such factor that one is the shape of the bones itself is a support or this a supporting factor which helps to maintain the arch. Here you can see that these shapes of the bones, it's a wedge shape. Okay, that is pointed part is towards the plantar surface. Okay, it's a wedge shaped bones. Okay. Then the next feature which supports this arch, that are the some tendons, okay, which act as slings. Okay, you're seeing here, you can see this is the this one is the lateral aspect actually. Here this is the calcaneum, cuboid, and this one is the 5th metatarsal here. So this is here we get the lateral longitudinal arch. I will explain in detail lateral longitudinal arch. Okay. Okay. Then to tell about the sling. Sling means it suspends the arch from the plantar aspect to above. Okay, there are some structures. Here in the lateral, you can see there is a peroneus longus muscle tendon is coming from the lateral. You are remembering the origin of the peroneus longus. Okay, from this one lateral surface of this fibula. Then it inserts. Okay, when it inserts here to this medial lateral aspect of this base of the first metatarsal bone, peroneus longus. So here it is coming, you can see on the lateral aspect, and it is going to the medial aspect. So such tendons which supports this arches. Actually, this is the support we can see in the lateral arch. Then supporting factor. Suppose here this is the arch of the building. Okay, here there are so many blocks will be there that act as this bony segments. Okay. So we can see these the two ends. Okay. Here this is one end, this is another end, like that here one end, here another end. Okay. Then the two ends are supported by a structure that is called the tie beams. Next supporting factor, that one is the tie beams. Okay. Tie beams supports the base of the arch. Okay, that it extends from the posterior end to the anterior end. Then, so these are the small segments, okay, of this arch that it forms. These are the small these bones actually here. It corresponds to this building. It is the blocks actually. So these numerous bones are interconnected, connected by some ligaments. Okay, that forms the staples. So the ligaments, that one, act as staples, which act as the another support of this arches. Okay. There will be some differences there in the medial and lateral and transverse arch. Okay. We are talking about the factors maintaining the arch of the foot. First one, that is the shape of the bones. These are the peg shaped. Then that also will help to give the support. Then slings. Then the staples. Here you can see the staples or the intersegmental tires. Then the tie beams. Okay. These are the main factors which supports the arch. You should know the name. Then we'll see the structures. Here is also here you are seeing this is the medial longitudinal arch. Here this is the calcaneum, here the talus, navicular. Here you can see the cuneiform bones medial. Here this is the intermediate. This is the first and second metatarsal. This is the head of the metatarsals. Okay. So this is the medial longitudinal arch. Okay. You're seeing here this is a concavity. Here this green, these are the muscles, tendons. Then here you can see this white color structure here in the base. This is the plantar aponeurosis. A plantar aponeurosis, you are remembering. This is a modification of the deep fascia on in the superficial aspect of this foot. Okay, once we reflect the skin, first we are seeing the plantar aponeurosis. Okay. So that one forms the tie beam. Okay, that one forms the tie beam. Then next to the plantar aponeurosis, okay, deep to the plantar aponeurosis, you are able to see the first layer muscles. Okay, which are the first layer muscles? Here in this figure, we are seeing this is the first layer of the sole of the foot. Here the plantar aponeurosis is cut in the first figure. In the center, you are seeing this muscle here. This is the flexor digitorum brevis. Okay, this is the medial aspect here. You are seeing this muscle. This is the abductor hallucis. Like that, laterally here, you can see this muscle here. This is the abductor digitally. So this plantar aponeurosis from this calcaneum tuberosity here, distal attachment towards the ligament and the skin. Okay, that forms the tie beam. Along with this center muscle, this is the flexor digitorum brevis. That is the medial half of the flexor digitorum brevis also act as a tie beam. Then in the medial most, we are seeing this muscle here. This is the abductor hallucis. This abductor hallucis is also act as a tie beams. So tie beams of the medial longitudinal arch. One is the plantar aponeurosis. Then medial half of this flexor digitorum brevis. Then we are seeing this is the abductor hallucis. Okay. That act as the tie beam. Then here again, this is the medial view only. Here you are seeing the ligaments here. This ligament here. This is the deltoid ligament. Okay. This is the tibia here. Calcaneum is here. Then navicular is there. This talus is covered by this ligaments. Okay. Here is the deltoid ligament. Okay. Then we can say this part here. This is the sustentaculum here. Sustentaculum tali of this calcaneum. Then this one is the tuberous here. This is the navicular bone. Here you are seeing a ligament here. This is the plantar calcaneonavicular ligament. This one is the spring ligament. Along with this deltoid ligament, okay, act as the intersegmental tires of the staples. So here some significance is there for the spring ligament. Here you can see this is the system diagram channel. Here this is the navicular bone, the medial aspect of the navicular bone. Here it's connected by this ligament that is the fibrocartilaginous. Okay, it was upper aspect of this ligament. There you can see a fibrocartilage. Okay. So there is this is the made of collagen fibers and the cartilage, fibrocartilaginous structure. This spring ligament, which supports this head of the talus. This spring ligament supports the head of the talus. So, if there is any stress or strain, okay, which can cause the flattening of the spring ligament and the plantar aponeurosis, which leads to a condition that is known as pes planus or the flat foot. Okay, flat foot. Here, once the foot is on the ground, the spring ligament gets stretched. When the foot is off the ground, it restores back to this original shape. That's why it is called the spring ligament. Okay, here, you are seeing the spring ligament. Remember the importance of this spring ligament. So the spring ligament and the deltoid ligament act as the intersegmental tires of this medial longitudinal arch. Then coming to the slings, here in this small plate that then of this diagram. Yes. Here is also we are seeing this first tendon here anteriorly. This is the tibialis anterior muscle tendon here. It inserts to this the medial aspect of this base of this first metatarsal bone. Here this is the tibialis anterior. Behind you are seeing this one is this is the tibialis posterior here. This is the tibialis posterior. Okay, this one here. Tibialis posterior. Then behind that you are seeing this tendon here. This one is the flexor hallucis longus. This one is the flexor hallucis longus. Hallucis to the toe here. Okay, big toe here. Here, flexor hallucis longus. So tibialis anterior and this tibialis posterior, which supports the arch from anterior and from the posterior aspect. Anterior means it supports the arch from above, that is the tibialis anterior, and tibialis posterior is also coming from here and it inserts to this navicular and then to the remaining all this septa and arranges to the all this tarsal bones except this talus. Okay, so tibialis posterior and tibialis anterior, which act as a sling of this medial longitudinal arch. That's about the medial longitudinal arch. Then here we move to the lateral longitudinal arch. Here this is the lateral view. Here we are seeing this is the calcaneum. This is the calcaneum. Here this is the talus. The lateral aspect here. This is the calcaneum. This one is the cuboid. And here you can see this is the fifth and fourth metatarsal bones. Okay. Here, in the lateral aspect, there is a lateral tubercle which touches the ground posteriorly. That forms the posterior head. Like that, in the anteriorly, there is the heads of the fourth and fifth metatarsal bones. Okay, which one touches the ground in the laterally. That forms the anterior head. The bones of this lateral longitudinal arch includes this calcaneum. Here, this one is the cuboid and the fifth and fourth metatarsal bones. Here, the heads of the fifth and fourth metatarsal bones forms the anterior edge and the lateral tubercle of the calcaneum forms the posterior. The anterior pillar is formed by the cuboid and this metatarsal, 4th and 5th metatarsals. Posterior pillar is formed by the lateral half of the calcaneum. Okay. You're seeing here, this is the concave curve, this is the arch, this one is the lateral longitudinal arch. Okay. Compared to the medial longitudinal arch, this concavity is less actually. Okay. Medial longitudinal arch, the concavity is more compared with this lateral longitudinal arch. Then next we'll see the supporting factors which helps to maintain the lateral longitudinal arch. Okay, here you are seeing this is the cuboid. So here this is the lateral longitudinal arch. Okay, this one is the lateral longitudinal arch. So here these are the heads of the anterior end. This lateral tubercle forms the posterior. The summit is formed by this bone, that is the cuboid. The main joint here, this is the calcaneum cuboid. Okay. Summit is formed by this cuboid bone. Main joint form is the calcaneum cuboid joint. Then, the factors maintaining the lateral longitudinal arch. Okay. The shape of the bone, okay, wedge shaped bone, okay, that is also a supporting factor. Along with that, here this is the plantar aspect of this foot. There you can see this is the long plantar ligament. Deep to that, you can see this is the short plantar ligament. This is to the lateral aspect. Here you are seeing this bone here. This is the cuboid. This is the cuboid. This one is the calcaneum. We are seeing this is the tuberosity. This is the lateral and medial tubercles. Okay. Here this one is the cuboid. Okay. So there is a short plantar ligament and this long plantar ligaments. These act as the intersegmental tires or the staples, okay, which binds the different segments or these bonds together. Okay. Addition to that, here it's saying this is the lateral view. This second figure here, this is the lateral aspect of the foot. You're seeing this muscles here, this is the superficial, this is the peroneus longus or the fibrillaris longus. Deep to that you are seeing this is the peroneus brevis or the fibrillaris brevis. Okay. See the longus here, laterally, here it is going deep to this is the cuboid. There is a groove there on the plantar aspect. Through that, peroneus longus is reaching the plantar aspect of the foot. Now in this figure you are seeing this is the peroneus longus or this fibrillaris longus tendon, and here it inserts. This is the first metatarsal. With the base of the first metatarsal and this one, that one is the here. That one is the here this is towards the navicular bone. Okay. This is towards the base of this first metatarsal. Then towards this one, this is the navicular bones. Then also this is the medial cuneiform here. This is the navicular here. This is the medial cuneiform. It's towards the medial cuneiform at the base of the first metatarsal. The insertion of this fibrillaris longus. This one acts as a sling, okay, which suspends the arch from above. Okay, like this, the tendon goes and suspending the lateral longitudinal arch and pulls from above. Okay, so that one acts as the slings. So here, this is the peroneus longus. Then back to this this image. Here, this is the first layer muscles. Here I already told this muscle is the flexor digitorum brevis. Okay, here in the lateral aspect you are seeing this muscle here. This is the abductor digitorum. This abductor digitorum and lateral half of this flexor digitorum brevis act as the tie beam of the lateral longitudinal arch. Okay. This median of this flexor digitorum brevis and this one, that is the abductor hallucis, along with this plantar aponeurosis, act as the tie beam of the medial longitudinal arch. Okay. So this is the lateral longitudinal arch. The factors maintaining the lateral longitudinal arch, the wedge-shaped bones, okay. Then this short and long plantar ligaments which forms the staples. Then peroneus longus one act as the Ssims. Then the thigh beams is formed by the plantar aponeuroses, lateral of the flexor digitorum brevis, and then there is the adductor digitalis. Then next is the transverse arch. That's all about the longitudinal arch. Longitudinal arch includes the medial and the lateral longitudinal arch. You should know the framework of the medial and lateral longitudinal arch along with the supporting factors. Then, here is saying this is a transverse arch. Here in this figure, this is the right leg. This is the plantar view here. You're seeing here, this is the blue color, that is there will get the lateral longitudinal arch. The green color, this area here will get the medial longitudinal arch. Okay. In relates to the base of the metatarsal bones and the cuneiforms and the cuboid bones will get the transverse arch. Okay. Here we are seeing this is the transverse arch. Here we are seeing this is the cuboid. This is the lateral view, this is the cuboid, and here these are the cuneiform bones. Okay? And this is the base of this metatarsal bones. In relates to that, here we get the transverse arch. Like this, here we get the transverse arch. Transverse arch gets completed only when the opposite foot gets meet together. Okay. Here in the one foot you can see only this medial aspect is not touching the ground. Okay, so it is like a half dome shape. It gets completed only when the opposite foot gets meets together. Okay. At the levels of the base of this metatarsals and the cuneiform and the cuboid bones. Deep to that, we get the transverse arch. Yes, in this figure, you are seeing this is a here, this is the plantar view of the foot. Here, this muscle here, this is the this tendon here, this is the tendon of this muscle, peroneus longus one. Then here you are seeing in the medial aspect, this one is the tibialis posterior muscle tendon. Here, laterally here, you are seeing this one is the peroneus longus. Okay. These peroneus longus and the tibialis posterior, which act as the thigh beam of this transverse arch. Okay. And also there the interosseous muscles will be there. There it is shown the plantar interosseous. Okay. There is a dorsal interosseous muscles, okay, which also supports the transverse arch, along with this deep transverse ligaments. Okay. So supports of this transverse arch are this peroneus longus tendon, then tibialis posterior tendon, dorsal interosseous, and there are the deep transverse metatarsal ligaments also there. Okay. These factors, these structures helps to maintain the transverse arch. Here you can see this is the deep transverse metatarsal ligaments. Here, this one. These are the deep transverse metatarsal ligaments. This is the long and short plantar ligaments. So that's about this arches. So we should know the framework of this longitudinal and transverse arch. See, this one is the medial longitudinal arch. See, this is the medial longitudinal arch. Here, this is the lateral aspect. Here, this is the lateral longitudinal arch. Like that, T2 here in corresponds with this cuboid and the cuneiform bones and the base of this metatarsals. There we get the transverse arch. Like this, there we get the transverse arch. So variant conditions relates to the arch of foot. The one is this is the normal arch. Here you are saying this is the right leg here, this is the medial aspect. You are seeing this arch here. This is the normal arch. Okay. Here in the first one figure, you are seeing this is a high arch. That condition is called the pes cavus. Okay. This one exaggerated the concavity, the foot. The condition is called the pes cavus. Here in this figure, there is this arch is not there. That condition is called the pes planus or the flat foot. The flat foot can be either caused due to this stressful strain. That means the this one flattening of the spring ligament or the plantar aponeurosis. That time the head of this the talus, that support to the head of the talus get lost. Okay. That is one of the leading factors which leads to this flat foot. Then, in case of this flat foot, what will happen is if we lose this concavity, there will be the compression of this blood vessels and nerves. Okay, gets compressed. Then also that person is more liable to trauma and arthritis. Those are some of the consequences of this flat foot. In this figure, you are seeing here, this is the one medial projection towards this midline. This is the head of this first metatarsal. This condition is called the hallux valgus. This condition is called the hallux valgus. Okay. The pointed shoes, those who are frequently using pointed shoes at high heels, develops this hallux valgus. Okay. Head of this first metatarsal is attacking towards the midline. Action. Then here you can see this one is the flexions, like flexion of this interphalangeal joints of the second or third toe, which leads to this hammer toe. This is the hammer toe. Here in this figure, you are seeing this is a cleft foot. It can be congenital or can due to the injury of this common peroneal nerve, which makes the foot here in this inverted and this one plantar flexing condition. Okay. If the common peroneal nerve gets affected, there will be loss of this eversion and this dorsiflexion. So the foot is in the inverted and plantar flexing condition. Okay. It is also congenital. Okay. Can be congenital also. Okay. This condition is called the cleft foot or the talus equinovarus. So these are some clinical features relates to the arch of the foot. You should know the importance of this flat foot or the pes planus. Then, coming to the walking cycle or the gait cycle. Okay. Briefly, we can. The walking cycle or this gait cycle includes two phases. One is the stance phase, and the next is the swing phase. So this walking cycle or this gait cycle includes two phases, that is the stance phase and the swing phase. See in this lower figure, you are seeing there is a heel strike, support, toe off, leg lift, swing is there. Okay. Here it is marked with this green and red color. Okay. We'll explain in terms of this right leg. Okay, that is with this green color. Simultaneous movement is happening in this left leg also. Okay. We'll explain in terms of this right leg, that is the green color one. Okay. So the stance phase includes the heel strike, support and toe off. Swing phase includes the leg lift and the swing. First, once we starts to walk, what we are doing first, there is the heel strike. Okay, there is the striking of this heel to the ground. Okay. In that condition, this one, knee is in the extended condition. Okay, muscles extensors comes to act. Here, this angle here, this one is in the dorsiflexion condition here. That muscles comes to act, and also here there will be the slightly here flexion of the hip and the gluteus muscles which initiates this movement, forward movement of the leg. Okay, here. So that is a heel strike. Then the right leg, we are supporting it completely to the ground. That comes under the support. Okay. Here, because again this knee is in extended condition. There is the this one gluteus medius and minimus is managing this pelvis level. Then here is also here this inverters and pivoters act together. Okay, and maintain the proper balance of the foot. Okay. This is happening in the support stage. Then next is see it is toe off. First is heel strike, then support, then we are ready to lift the leg. That time first is happening the toe off. You see is ready to the leg lift before that. So that stage is the toe off. Here this is also this one here. This ankle here, the ankle is in which condition here? This is in the plantar flexed. Okay, knee is also extended condition. Hip is also there. It's in this extended condition. Right? Knee is in the extended condition. Here, this ankle here, it is in the plantar flexed condition. Once the leg lift, this comes under the swing phase. Okay, then that means the foot is off the ground. Here, this one here, this is this ankle here, this is in the plantar flexor condition, knee is in flexor condition here, and here you are seeing the hip is in the extended condition. This corresponding muscles also comes into action. You know the plantar flexors, dorsiflexors of foot, the muscles helps in the flexion and extension of the knee, muscles helps in the flexion and extension of the hip. Correspondingly, all the muscles comes to act. Okay, so you are seeing this is the leg lift. Foot is off the ground. Okay, there is a plantar flexion. Flexion of this knee. Here you can see there is in the extension of this one. Then in the hip. Then next is the swing phase. Once we lift, then we are here you are seeing this is the leg lift. Again, it is swinging and making forward to again a heel strike. That is the swing phase here. Okay, this is the first one we are explaining here. This is the heel strike. So here once we lift the legs, then we have to swing it forwards and ready for the next heel strike. Okay, this is in the here. You are seeing this one is the flexion of the hip, rectus iliopsoas and rectus femoris comes to an extension of the knee. Then here you can see this is the dorsiflexion of this one. Foot. That means the action at the level of this angle. So this is about the gait cycle. Gait cycle means once first heel strike to the next heel strike. That is the one cycle. Okay. Then it moves on. Okay. Like that is happening in the left leg also. Here, this is a heel strike. Here, this is a toe off. Here, this is a leg lift. Then here, this is the leg lift. Here again there is a heel strike. This is in the right, explaining in right. Then support, then again toe off. Okay. Simultaneously happening in the right and the left leg. So the gait cycle includes the stance phase and Ssims phase. Stance phase includes heel strike, support and toe off. Ssims phase includes leg lift and swing. That's about this gait cycle. Then, here is the question. A candidate for recruitment in army was rejected because he was found to have pes planus. What is that pes planus? Flat foot. In the medical checkup. You should answer this in your assignment box. Define pes planus and explain the anatomical factors that are responsible for it. You already explained. Then, what are the consequences of flat foot? The next one, briefly describe the medial longitudinal arch of foot. In that, you should first tell about the bony framework of this medial longitudinal arch, then its different parts of this medial longitudinal arch like ends, pillars, summit, main joints, then factors maintaining the medial longitudinal arch, which includes the intersegmental tires, staples, slings and tie tips, which are those factors that Asmo should explain with the help of the diagram. That's it for today's section. Hope you understood.